And when they spread it out, it's not just going to stay on their tax bill. We are all going to have to pay for that increased level of service as well.
The impact of a house in Avimor will have the same impact as a house built if Eagle were to annex more land, north of Beacon Light down there.
Okay, before the break, we told you about a vision decades in the making. You heard from Avimor's managing partner right there about how this development is growing every day. 900 homes were approved in Ada County. 900 homes.
Yep.
Builders recently started in on Boise County.
So just kind of expanding out there. Now Avimor wants to expand even more and to annex into the city of Eagle. There's a group, though, of Eagle residents pushing back. Here's why.
Expanding the city limits clear up there and adding all of that is not in the best interest of Eagle residents. And slowing things down is better, not 9,700 homes in one development.
Can you understand why the public might push back a little bit about how much development is going on in their foothills?
I do, but it's private land.
Private property rights are very important. It becomes difficult when those private property rights start infringing on people in general.
People move to Eagle for that quaint, rural, small-town feel, for a better quality of life. But that quality of life changes as the city grows at a rapid clip.
I mean, growth is going to come. We just want to see controlled growth.
The city's boundaries really grew when it annexed the land for the large Spring Valley planned community before the Great Recession.
Spring Valley's annexation and development agreement with the city of Eagle back in 2007 allowed for Avimor to potentially be annexed into the city. Out there in the distance, the two properties touch. Avimor is about 35 square miles, bigger than the city of Meridian.
I don't want to live in a huge city like that. And it is so spread out. It's way up the hill.
SOS Eagle worries about more people living in the fire-prone wildland-urban interface, traffic increasing, schools overcrowding, and a higher demand on water resources. First responders tell me Avimor is already and will strain emergency services, with so many people living so far away from the urban core. And SOS Eagle believes Avimor will impact the level of service everywhere in the city.
It's not just going to stay on their tax bill. We are all going to have to pay for that increased level of service as well.
Eagle contracts with the Ada County Sheriff's Office for police. If Avimor becomes part of the city, the Sheriff's Office says all Eagle taxpayers would likely have to pay for more officers to cover the area, especially if they want Avimor to have the same level of service. Mayor Pierce says he'd try to work out an agreement so Eagle taxpayers don't bear the burden.
We might ask Avimor through the process to supplement some stuff early on until we can get more development up there and more property taxes coming in. It has to be adequate day one. Right? If they comes into the city of Eagle, you have to be able to provide the services that you do in the rest of the city.
Both Eagle Fire District and Ada County paramedics chiefs say their response times to Avimor are about 4 minutes longer than places in city limits. That won't change if it's annexed. Avimor pays impact fees to the fire district and gifted land for a station in the development. But the chiefs say call volume and tax revenue up there aren't high enough to need or pay for that station yet. SOS Eagle anticipates the growth will cost the city and its taxpayers more money.
And they've never proven that it would be feasible, even with their own studies and changing the parameters. The truth's not in the pudding.
A recent financial analysis shows annexation would be a boon to Eagle in the short term, thanks to one-time fees from development. But Avimor would saddle the city with a deficit in the long run, as Eagle pays for ongoing facility and service costs.
The $100 million or whatever it was, they said that there was the deficit, was in parks. But that fiscal impact didn't have the tool to realize that we're paying to build the parks.
Richter argues growth pays for itself with impact fees, property taxes, the HOA, and a unique community infrastructure district. That mostly funds building roads and improving Highway 55.
You need a tool like that so you can pay up front.
Avimor paid for a different financial analysis, one their economist tells me doesn't show such a negative outlook. They plan to submit the final study with their annexation application, likely by the end of April.
For the city of Eagle, which it will affect the most, we think we should have control over what happens there, but it has to make sense.
We're not comfortable with it.
SOS Eagle wants to make sure the city listens to people.
There are tons and tons of questions that haven't been answered.
So they can help shape the future of their once quaint, rural, small town.
It has the potential to change a lot of things in Eagle, and we won't be that small community.
But Richter argues the private land will be developed, and he feels they're doing it responsibly by conserving open space and access for the public.
A lot of communities have a lot of open space, but it's for the rich and famous, and it's only them that get to use it. The McLeod said, no, we've always shared this land, and we'd like to be able to continue to do that.
You know, SOS Eagle is frustrated because meetings so far that have been held in front of city leaders were really informational up to this point, so they weren't able to weigh in. But the public can weigh in soon. Once Avimor submits its annexation application, the whole thing will go through a public process. Multiple committees will hold multiple hearings, and people will get the chance to testify, although, you know, just for 3 minutes each as City Council allows.
Okay, the difference about this, I mean, typically and historically, development happens in response to growth, not usually out ahead of it, right?
Yeah, that is typically how it works in Idaho, at least. It may not be the status quo, right, to build it before people come for a lot of economic reasons. You know, financially, it's just not that feasible. But Mayor Ridgeway says Eagle could, in fact, require Avimor to build several things or plan for these emergency services before signing off on hundreds more homes. He said it could happen through a development agreement.
Yeah, it's a new plan. Could come up with a new way to do it.
You never know.
All right.